What's up, everybody? You're listening to another episode of the SignatureCAST, where we talk bodybuilding, business, and everything in between. To my right, the BK Beast, Akim Williams. How you feeling today? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing great, man. You know, it's been a while since I was supposed to be on here, but finally made it, and new year, and we starting on the year off right.
A while is an understatement, but you know what? You're here, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I think the audience at home is going to love what we have to say. You said it yourself. New year, new Akim. What's the game plan? What do you bring on the stage this year to blow 2021 out the water?
Well, I mean, 2021 was a pretty interesting year for me. You know, I felt like I had a lot of trials and tribulations I had to overcome in terms of losing one of my really good friends, George Peterson, who passed away a few days before the Olympia. Also losing my mentor, Leon Brown, who passed away right a week before I decided to do the Arnold Classic. I mean, for those who don't know, Leon Brown is pretty much a legend in the sport of bodybuilding. You know, he was a trainer to Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, he has one of the, in terms of like New York, Staten Island, you know, he's a legend. He did it all. You know, he was there in the beginning of the sport. You guys could Google him. His name is Leon Brown. He's actually the one that introduced me to the whole bodybuilding and what it is to be a bodybuilder. So it was deep to, you know, finally, you know, hear the news that he passed away, and I wasn't there to, you know, attend his funeral or anything like that. So that hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss of both of them. I know it was a big shock, obviously, to the entire bodybuilding community. I was there at the Olympia. You know, we saw each other, and that was definitely there was a dark cloud over the Olympia that year, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
man.
You know, he loved what he did.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
He loved what he did.
I try not to dwell or remember George in terms of how a lot of people see, like, you know, how he passed away and stuff like that. I try to keep all the good memories I have of him, you know, all the memories of me and him training. You know, like 2021, we trained a lot together for the, you know, for the Arnold, for the Olympia, you know, even for the Puerto Rico Pro. Me and him was training every week together and stuff like that. So I try to keep those memories and just keep them in my mind and make sure that, you know, that those memories do not fade. So
yeah, for sure. I remember seeing you guys came here a couple times.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys trained like crazy. I just did a training session with this guy, and there's a reason why these are the size of watermelons, these shoulders here. Trust me. I was hurting for a couple days. So back to the game plan, right? So last year, I know we talked a little bit. Couple things happened with the water manipulation. You know, obviously we know that the BK Beast is a mountain on stage, you know, all about the muscle. And, you know, we've had personal conversations that it's just, you know, fine tuning, tweaking, especially when you weigh well over 270 pounds on stage usually, right?
Yeah, usually like 270, give or take.
270? Yeah. And that's a lot of muscle to be walking around, you know? So what's the game plan? Is it just really trying to fine tune that process again?
Well, I felt like 2021, you know, I kind of took a step back in terms of the way I trained and everything like that. So for 2022, I want to fall in love with training again. That's why, one of the reasons why I'm going to try to do a show like around the summertime, because I want to give myself, you know, ample amount of time to focus on training and bringing my body back to where it was back to 2020 when I placed sixth place in the Olympia.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that physique, and it was very impressive. Not that last year's wasn't, but I know what you mean. You know that you can do better.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic. So coming in crisper, coming in just as jacked, just as full, but just trying to blow people away.
Exactly, you know.
That's it. I love it.
That's the whole thing with bodybuilding, you know. You always try to beat you as a person. You know, you always look at your best and try to beat that, you know. And if you could focus on that and not worry about anybody else, you know, you definitely will be successful. So that's just a, you know, a gem I'm dropping to most people out there. You know, just focus on you, and you definitely be successful.
I mean, we've talked about this myself. You know, I'm trying to maybe step on the stage someday, but, you know, just being introspective and not worrying about the other guys in the gym or who are competing or whatever it may be, because all you can control is yourself.
Definitely.
You know?
A lot of people, you know, fail to understand that. You know, you don't have control over anybody else. You know, all you can focus on is basically going to the gym, doing the work, and just staying focused on you, you know, and let everything else take care of itself.
Fantastic. So you mentioned earlier, and forgive me if I say his first name was Leon?
Yeah, Leon.
Leon Brown. So I've been very interested, and we have actually never had this conversation. So the BK Beast, how did it start? So I'm guessing you said he introduced you to bodybuilding?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to make the story short, you know, he was his wife actually who saw me on the bus. You know, as a lot of people know me, you know, I have a basketball background. I played ball, and one day I was actually going home from the gym. I think we just finished wrapping up a session or something like that. And I was on the bus. We are heading home to Brooklyn, and I got on the bus and I got introduced to this lady who saw me in a tank top, and she was so impressed that she gave me her business card, and she told me to come out to Staten Island. She wanted me to meet somebody that's very special, and lo and behold, it was Leon Brown, which was her husband at the time, and he took one look at me and he's just like, yo, we're gonna do a show. And it's pretty interesting that the show that we did is actually a worker here at Signature Fitness. Yeah, he's actually a worker here at Signature Fitness.
Really?
Yep. The first show I did back in 2010, I did his show, which is out in Pennsylvania at the time, Allentown, Pennsylvania. And that gentleman's name is Bill Grant.
Oh, okay. I'm running through the Rolodex in my head, like, who works here?
He's actually a personal trainer here at Signature, and
good dude.
Yeah, exactly. And it was his show that I did. The first show that I ever did, the first bodybuilding competition I ever did was Bill Grant's.
Very cool. Yeah. And how'd you do?
I won the whole thing.
Oh,
and to this day, Bill Grant, he still remembers me because I showed up and everybody just like, who the hell is this guy?
And this might be stretching the memory. Do you remember roughly what you weighed on stage?
For that show, I think I was maybe about 195 maybe.
Oh, so sub 200.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you've come a very, very, very long way. Mm-hmm. You know, now I know the other day you said you were walking and you felt a little heavy, but like 310-ish pounds walking around. Mm-hmm. Are you still sitting like around 3 now, a little lighter?
Nah, I mean, I had a few setbacks, you know. I like everybody.
Oh, you got sick for a little while, right?
Everybody that, you know.
It's floating around.
Everybody that knows what's going on right now. I don't want to say the name.
We won't. The
C word.
There's a bug. It's wandering.
So, you know, I had that, and it set me back a little bit. So I'm probably around the 280s right now.
Okay.
280s, which is not bad.
No. By all means. And just to put it in perspective for any of our viewers who aren't super into bodybuilding or you're new to it, welcome. And Akim, you are roughly how tall?
About 5'10".
So about 5'10", 280 pounds. That's and look, trust me, guys. There's not a lot of there ain't a lot of love compared to me. You know, it's probably 95% muscle. So that's very impressive. Years, right? Years and years of training.
Definitely took a lot of years. You know, it's interesting because for me, bodybuilding came very, very naturally. You know, I didn't have to struggle like a lot of people. I turned pro really easily. I think I did like 2 years of national competing, like 2 years doing the national shows, and then my third year I turned pro, which is really quick for bodybuilding standard. You know, there are guys that have been doing it their whole life.
Yeah, 20 years.
Exactly, to get their pro card and stuff like that. So I was blessed in that aspect where I didn't have to really kill myself to get a pro card. So,
now, would you say you just adapted to the training and the lifestyle just very well?
Yeah, definitely. I would like that. That's what I'm saying. It just came naturally to me. You know, I didn't have to I would just put on muscle at a very rapid rate.
And were you I'm just curious, were you a force feeder or was it just kind of just eating a little extra?
Man,
and I know about the cereal. Don't you lie to these people.
I get that a lot, man. And I'm very I'm not a big eater at all. To be honest with you,
that says a lot about your genetics.
Yeah, and sometimes the majority of times when I'm competing, you know, for most people that don't understand bodybuilding, you have a preseason, you have off season, and in the off season, I barely eat anything, man. I would eat like 2 or 3 meals a day.
Really?
The majority of the time I make my gains is when I'm pre-contest, and that's when I'm eating steady, 6 meals a day.
You know, that actually might be the reason why, and we'll talk about this because it's a very interesting subject. You're one of the few, and I would say it is few, bodybuilders that maintain a very nice tight waist, that good V-taper. I mean, your lats are absurd, but still, you don't have much distension at all. You know, maybe it is. I'm a big believer that these guys that are really pushing the food hard, you can only take so many digestive enzymes. You can only drink so much water and do whatever you can to get that stuff out of you.
Yeah.
I think it's it might be a smart idea for some of these guys maybe to cut back the food in the off season.
I think so too, man. I definitely, and you just feel more comfortable and you feel more natural because it's a reason why it's called off season. You know, you want to take a break from everything, you know, and a lot of people don't understand that. You just can't keep pushing 24/7. You know, eventually the body's gonna, you know, give up or go in the wrong direction. So sometimes you need a break, and sometimes you need to cut back on everything. You know, everything done in moderation is always a good thing. It always leads to good things.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. You know, some of these guys that are competing, you know, upwards of 5 times a year, and they just burn out. You know, the first show will be pretty good. The second show is probably great because they fine-tuned it. And then the next couple of shows, you're like, what's happening with this guy?
It's so true, man. Back in, I think it was 2018 or 2019, I kind of went on a spell like that where I did maybe like about 5 or 6 shows.
Wow.
And it was exhausting, and it wasn't shows that was just in the U.S. You know, I was traveling all over the world. From Spain to Brazil to Canada, you know, I went all over, man, and it was definitely exhausting. So I definitely understand what you mean about when you say that.
And so now, if you had, because you placed, what did you place last year at the Olympia?
I was 9th place.
9th place. So obviously they just take the top 5, correct?
Well, they do top 10. They do top 10 placing at the Olympia.
So you are no, I mean for the qualification.
Qualification,
so it's top 5. Top 5, right?
Yes.
So now, if you had placed top 5, would you have still done another show, or do you think you would have just solely focused on the Olympia?
I think I would just focus on Olympia.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So obviously, then the game plan: win a pro show, one shot kill, forget the points, and just make it. Right.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Yeah.
That's good. That's fantastic. Well, like I said, it's great to see someone in this world that we live in, this fitness world, who has that mindset. You know, everything in moderation. Yeah. Take a break. Your body will respond better. Because, I mean, we see it out these doors all the time. These guys come and go very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely, man.
You know?
They don't last. And it's one of the things that, you know, like, you know, I always see it like it's a marathon. You know, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. You know, I kind of live my life like that. You know, it's not a race, man. It's not a sprint. You know, you take it, you know, and you nurture it, and you get the most out of it in terms of, you know, enjoying the process. And if you could live your life like that, you would achieve a lot.
Oh, 100%. I'm so glad you said that. I just posted on my Instagram. Someone made a quote or whatever, and it said, everyone believes that life ends at 25 and then everything's over. And you can't. It's chapters. You got to just take it as it comes and enjoy the process. Everyone's too worried about the future, about the past, but if we can all live a little bit in the present.
And it also goes into everything. And now that I've gotten older, and even with my training style and stuff like that, you know, before I would come to the gym, and if, let's say, I'm bench pressing and I'm bench pressing 500 pounds, the next time I go bench press, I would have it in my head that if I didn't do 500 pounds, I didn't train hard or I didn't work out. And now that I'm older, I'm starting to realize, like, I take what I could get, what my body gives me. So if I come to the gym and I feel like, okay, Akim, like, you're going to only, you know, your body's telling you that maybe you should just back off the weights and maybe you should just stay with maybe 315 and do some reps. In the past, I wouldn't do that. I would force myself to try to bench press 500 pounds. And now I'm realizing that you don't have to do that. You know, you kind of just listen to your body and take what your body gives you. And sometimes you actually make more gains and you get a better workout that way.
Now, would you say, because I'm not sure, I haven't asked, like, any major injuries throughout the career or anything like that?
I mean, my little shoulder injury here and there, but nothing serious. You know, I could still bench press.
Knocking on a big block of wood here for you.
I haven't torn anything like that. You know, I could still bench press. I could still squat and stuff like that. So
you just did, right?
Yeah, I just did. Yeah,
that's great. You know, so that's a perfect segue into what I mentioned prior, is about the training style, and we joke a lot, obviously. So I push this guy's buttons. I'm like, he doesn't train hard. This guy doesn't lift heavy, and then I did a shoulder day, and I had a different perspective. But you know, looking back at some of your old training, I remember, because you're in your later 30s, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I'm in my later 20s. I remember 10 years ago when you were in your later 20s, I remember watching, like, who is this dude squatting like 7 plates on each side and just repping it out like a madman? how have you evolved in terms of, is it that you just built your base muscle and now it's, you know, you're coming into the gym more sculpting, fine tuning? Do you still find yourself ever wanting to push those weights?
Well, sometimes I look at old videos of me squatting 8 plates and stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, like I feel like I want to do that again. And then, you know, the little voice on the side is basically telling you, Akim,
what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to do that anymore. So it was great for a time, you know, and it helped me to develop the physique that I have right now. But at this point in my career, I don't feel like I need to put 8 plates on my back and try to squat that, you know. I would rather come in here and just bang out some reps with maybe like 4 plates or something like that. So, you know, it's all about evolving, and it's all about evolving to a point where you're safe, you're not getting injured and stuff like that. So, like I said, bodybuilding or even in life in general, you just have to go through that evolution process, you know, and find out what works for you.
Definitely. And I've seen it, like, obviously, like I said, I've seen it firsthand. And I was on your Instagram doing some deep dives this morning, obviously doing a little bit of my homework. And but you do still push like big weights on leg day, you know, with leg press and hack squats. And you really can, for everyone who's listening, you really can accomplish a lot with machines. You know, Dexter Jackson said it his best. He almost never did free weights of anything.
Yeah.
And look at the guy. He was, what, 52 when he retired?
Yeah.
Still one of the top 10 physiques in the world when he retired?
Yeah, he retired in the top 10.
Very, very impressive. Extremely impressive. So now, I know she wasn't able to come in today, and that's okay because we all have a life and working, but your significant other, Taylor, right?
Yeah.
She's also competing. How does that live into your lifestyle? I know with me, with my girlfriend, she did a little bit of powerlifting, but do you find it a lot easier that both of you guys have a similar mindset, or does she like to eat, you don't like to eat, or?
Well, I mean, it's definitely an interesting dynamic, and when it comes to relationships, in the sense of, you both have something in common, but sometimes there could be conflict there, you know. But as long as you have somebody that's not selfish and is willing to support you as well as you support them, you know, you can make it work.
That's a great point. I've seen you guys train together. It's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool.
I mean, sometimes it never goes to where we planned it, but you know, for the most part, we could train together sometimes.
That's good. No, I look. We're gonna get into a little bit of it's tough. It can be tough.
Yeah.
You know, there's been times where and my girlfriend Stephanie and I, we've been dating for years now, and you know, we get some fantastic workouts. But like when I was in prep for some strongman comps, like, you just you feel bad sometimes because you know they want to be involved, but you kind of want to do your own thing, or you're locked in the box and they're just like, but babe, and I'm like, leave me alone, you know?
Yeah, I think especially when you're getting ready for a show.
Yes.
If this is your career, like, you know, this is my career. You know, she competes, but you know, her career is in teaching and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different, you know. And for me, it's a little bit more serious. And sometimes when I'm training and I look over and I see my training partner on the phone texting and stuff like that, it gets a little aggravating. But, you know, I got to remember that, you know, like, she has a life also too. And
that may have been me the other day. I swear I was business text messages. I promise. It actually was. But yeah.
Yeah, that could be a little bit annoying, you know.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah. When you're especially then you're in a calorie deficit, everything's cranked to 100 and you're just, you know, you're zoned in.
Exactly.
Get off the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So I want to talk a little bit about Akim's accomplishments. Biggest show win?
Wow.
Or what would you consider your proudest moment in terms of on the stage? I know that's a little bit of a tougher question.
It definitely is. I would say 2020, probably 2020 Olympia.
Okay.
Say. You know, getting that first call out at Olympia and standing there with the top bodybuilders in the world in that first call out, and you know, just being compared with them, you know, that was definitely a very, very proud achievement for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think we should call you Akim the Dream instead of the BKB.
I stopped dreaming a long time
ago.
You spend your life dreaming, you're never going to accomplish anything.
That's very true.
You know,
very, very true.
Yeah.
So how did the BKB name get given? Did you give it to yourself?
No.
No, I don't know.
You know,
I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody to give me a nickname one day. We'll see.
You know,
but
I mean, for a lot of people that don't know me, you know, I grew up in a very, very rough neighborhood in Brooklyn. You know, Brownsville. And, you know, from just going into parks and doing pull-ups and being around all that, you know, crazy stuff that was back then, you know, you have to develop a little bit of a chip on your shoulders, you know, because if you don't, you know, certain things might come your way.
You're gonna get eaten.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you have to become that beast. You know?
Oh, let me scoot over this way. Watch out.
And you know that kind of led to me training and led to me training in the gym and my training lifestyle and the way I train and everything like that. So it's just a combination of taking, you know, what I had to go through in the streets and putting that into my workouts and stuff like that, and the crazy stuff that I would do. That everybody just like, yo, this guy's a beast, like, you know. And
that's it.
It just led to.
So it just naturally came.
Yeah, the BKBs just naturally.
I love it. I love it. I'm always interested in finding how people get their names. Like obviously, you know, Sean Clarita trains here, and you know his nickname's the Giant Killer. So I'm still waiting on getting a workout between those two guys. You know, we got a Giant and the Giant Killer. That'd be pretty amazing. But obviously, with him is smaller stature, phenomenal physique, and he's you know taking down some bigger guys. Speaking of him taking down some bigger guys. The good old Mr. Olympia just won an open show.
I know. How
do you feel about that?
That was very, very impressive, and you know, congratulations to Sean for that. You know, I actually sent him a text message after the show, congratulating him. You know, I thought that was very impressive. That was a big win for him. It's kind of funny, you know, because I actually right after the Olympia, I was thinking about that show, and can't remember why.
About the Reno.
Yes, yeah, it was between that and the show out in Egypt at the time.
Yes, we talked about it actually.
I had somebody that, you know, I'm not going to mention his name, but he really wanted me to go to Egypt and do that show. So he reached out to me and he told me like, come out to Egypt, let's do the show, and he'll take care of me while I'm out there. So I'm all right, cool. I thought about it. Then I reached out to the people from Egypt and I'm like, all right, so you know, you guys are going to cover the plane and hotel and stuff like that. And it's just like, nah, we just cover like the hotel or whatever the case may be. You have to pay for the plane flight, and I'm like, I'm not doing that shit.
That's expensive. Let alone how long is that flight anyway?
Yeah, it's a long flight, and the fact that they weren't paying for the plane ride and they just covering the hotel, it just kind of just turned me off, and I decided not to do it. So I just went off season then.
Well, it's good, and you know, like, and then obviously the bug that's flying around, you got that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just you're like you said, you're going through your paces, you're taking life one day at a time and developing and becoming better.
It happened for a reason, but back to Sean winning that show.
That's right. We're getting off topic.
That was definitely a big win for him.
The Giant Killer.
And he proved to a lot of people out there that, you know, he could stand next to anybody on stage. So
I know I've been, you know, chirping in his ear. Even I don't know whether he's doing the Open or the 212.
That's right. He's qualified for both. Right?
He is. I don't know if he's. I'd have to look it up.
I think he has to pick one.
I don't, and I also don't know if he's the first person to ever do it because.
No, I don't think he's the first.
Like to qualify for both.
Yeah, I don't think he's the first.
But I do know there hasn't been anyone that's ever done both. And then obviously back in the day, you know, people like let's say like Lee Priest, you know, he would do the Open because there wasn't a 212 then, correct?
Yeah, no, there wasn't a 212.
You know, so it's going to be interesting. I would love him to do both, but it's not possible.
There's a guy from Spain that actually did the same thing he did. I can't remember his name. Professional bodybuilder from Spain that did the same thing he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He won a show right after Sean won a show, actually.
Really?
Won an Open show also. Yeah,
wow.
Out in Spain. The Big Man Classic. I just can't remember his name, you know. Right after Sean won his show, he did the same thing.
That's very cool, though. Yeah, it was having been there in person and, you know, supporting Sean and all that stuff. It was definitely a moment, you know. And I think the bodybuilding world I think it's gonna be better because of people like that, in the sense that we talked earlier about midsections and keeping an aesthetic physique and all that stuff. And thankfully you're one of the people who I think everyone can say without a doubt has that look. You know, big V taper, nice small waist, what everyone wants bodybuilding to be now. And I'm not knocking, look, I'm a bigger guy, and I think if I ever were to do bodybuilding, I don't think I'd have the smallest waist and the structure. So I know people have to use what they have. But I think in general, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, how do you see the sport evolving? I think it's definitely with the height and the hype, of classic physique and this little bit more of a streamlined look. I think it's moving a little bit further away from
Nah, I disagree.
No,
I disagree.
You don't think so? I think the mass will always be there.
Okay, let me break it down for you.
Oh, go watch out.
A few
watch out.
A few weeks ago, I actually head out to the Mecca, or the people that actually run the whole Olympia and everything like that.
Pause. Okay, first of all, he's a member of Signature Fitness, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not talking about the gym, man. I'm not talking about the gym. I'm talking about the people that run the Olympia.
Okay. Because we all know why we go to the Mecca, and it's a wonderful place. We're gonna call ourselves the Jersey Mecca. They can be the Mecca.
I got you.
Or did you go? No. Were you still on the East Coast, or did you go out to the West?
I was on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
You made that trip.
It wasn't the gym. It was the Wings of Strength.
I totally get you. Gotcha.
Somebody made a very interesting point. I was out there with one of the top classic physique competitor, and he was asking about the prize money and stuff like that, and he wanted to know why the prize money is not increased and stuff like that. And one of the top guys that runs the whole organization made a very interesting point to him. It's just classic physique is great for social media and everything like that, but when it comes down to it, they don't bring in any revenue from that. And what they bring in revenues from ticket sales and stuff like that. And the ticket sales are people that actually came to see open bodybuilding.
Oh, so it still is that?
Yep.
That's great. I mean, trust me, I'm a fan of the open, 100%.
So I
don't get that wrong.
I thought that was pretty interesting because people always saying, "Oh, classic physique is taking over" and all this other stuff. But yet, the people that come to see bodybuilding are people coming to see open bodybuilding. They're not paying VIP money to go see classic.
Oh, I'm very happy you set that straight for me, because I was curious, because if you were to just look, and because we're all so obsessed with it, if you were to look at social media, you would think that classic physique is bodybuilding now.
But people always get it misconstrued that social media is like this money revenue generating part of our lives right now. Like, yeah, you have millions of followers, but that doesn't mean that it's actually translating into income coming into whatever shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it might be your personal income, but if the promoter can't fill the seats,
exactly,
and that's it. And at the end of the day, it's a show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bodybuilding show. That's the one thing that, and I say this with every bodybuilder I have on here. It's the one thing that I love and hate about bodybuilding. So a lot of people don't know this. Anybody who's listened to the podcast may know this. You might not know this. I had a very big music background.
Okay.
And I love performing. It's one of my favorite things. So for bodybuilding, I love the performance aspect of it. You're stepping on stage, especially when you have someone who could really do a great routine to the music. The Olympia this year I've never seen anything like that. They had it was like a rave, like the light show and everything. I think it was a little sided towards Rami. When he came out, all of a sudden, thunder was happening, smoke screen and everything. But from a powerlifter's perspective, I love the fact that my sport, or as a strength athlete, I should say, is objective, obviously, versus yours is subjective.
Yes.
You have someone telling you whether you're good enough. I mean, I always like to say that, just like you said earlier, you are in control of you. So if you want them to see, you must do what you want them to see.
Yes.
But it's just great to hear that, because, it's two different worlds. And I know they've tried to in some ways. Sometimes they tried some, what was it called? Larry Wheels did it. They had where they judged you in bodybuilding, but in weightlifting and all that stuff at the same time. He did it a couple of years ago.
Oh, that Strength was.
Strength Award, that whole thing. And it's a little odd.
You know what's funny?
What, they asked you?
I was actually going to be the main face for that event when
it would make sense.
They actually reached out to me and offered me a contract and everything like that. But at the time, what they were trying to do was conflicting with the IFBB. So it would have been a conflict of interest, and the contract that they offered me was not worth me giving up my IFBB pro card.
No way.
To do something like that.
Yeah.
And you're so close to getting injuries and everything like that. So,
and there was a ton of people that got injured there too.
Exactly. So I decided to shut it down. I turned them down. But I was one of the first bodybuilders that they reached out to that wanted me to be the face of that whole Strength was contest.
Well, I mean, you are strong.
Even before they reach out to Larry Wheels and stuff like that, they reached out to me first.
Very cool.
But I'm happy I didn't do it because I don't really see anything came out of it.
That. Oh yeah, it's no one even. I barely could remember the name.
Yeah.
Not just that. I mean, God forbid you had gotten injured or something.
Exactly.
So as I said before, this is bodybuilding, business, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. Shout out to your sponsors. You've been with Muscle Meds, correct?
Yeah.
For a long time now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy to be a part of that company and just having them take care of me and just supporting me and giving me all the help and tools I need to be successful in the sport. So, Gerard Dente, the owner of Muscle Meds, I've always, said thank you and I appreciate everything that him and everyone else at Muscle Meds have done for me.
And they're a local company too.
Yeah. Definitely a Jersey company. So,
Jersey company. I've been to their because are they separate or part of MHP? They're kind of
they're like
under the same umbrella.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I've been to their facility. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's actually bigger right now too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They actually
they're expanding. Wow.
Yeah, so
okay.
We keep doing what we're doing and the company's growing. So definitely thank God for that.
Yeah. So I want to bring up. I can't remember the name. I apologize. You also are doing your own podcast now, correct? Mm-hmm. And it's called
Legends of Iron.
Legends of Iron. Mm-hmm. And it's you, John Anderson, and Nick Best.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you, I think John is kind of the, what's the word? The bridge between the two worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was a professional strongman, professional bodybuilder. Did he have his IFBB Pro card?
Yes, he also got his
He did, right?
card, yeah.
And the wrestler. And then you have Nick Best. Long-time professional strongman. Mm-hmm. How's that going? Is it interesting to hear those perspectives?
Definitely, man. It's a great group of guys. We have a lot of fun when we get on there, and some of the people that we interview are very, very unique people, very interesting people. So you guys could definitely check it out. You can find it on any platform. iTunes, Spotify, you name it. It's called Legends of Iron, and we just started bringing out episodes, but we're doing episodes every week, and it's a very good listen, and you guys you get a lot of information out of it. So definitely check it out.
I'm sure John is a hoot. He seems like a character.
Oh man, yesterday, God, can I even say this?
Oh boy.
So yesterday we interview a gentleman by the name of Tony Huge. I'm sure you guys know of him. If you don't, you could just Google him and get a little bit of a perspective of who he is as a person.
Another character.
Yeah. So we're doing an interview with Tony Huge, and he's dropping gems, and he's making some very, very great points and stuff like that. So finally he's finished, and John goes, Tony, I'm sorry, but you were dropping so many gems that I had to use the bathroom, but I didn't want to stop you, so I decided to take this bottle and piss in the bottle while we're doing the interview.
Wow. Forget Tony Huge's gems. You're telling me he stood under this table.
He didn't want to interrupt him because some of the message that he was
giving was good.
So good.
Wow.
He didn't want to interrupt him, so he actually proceeded to piss in a bottle while we're doing the interview. So
guys, definitely go check out Legends of Iron and pay attention for that scene with Tony Huge.
That was funny.
I got to go back and watch that now. That's fantastic.
It was funny.
And you guys do everything through your, it's all like a Zoom based or a web based, right?
It's all like web based. Yeah.
I think we need to start doing that here. It's great because you can reach out to people that we're very fortunate, obviously, here at Signature that we have people like you and Sean and a lot of athletes and people in-house, but I'd love to reach out to a few more people.
Yeah, definitely. You should start doing more web-based stuff, because you could get guys, guys like Tony Huge or whoever else, and you could get them to come on and get some really good content out.
No, definitely, 100%. So I think my goal with this, and also little selfishly, is getting more work out there with you guys. And I really would love for the audience to see, because the last subject I want to touch on, and I touched on this with most of the people who come onto this podcast, is most people in their lives will never understand what it's like to give 120, 30, 50% towards a goal in life. Mm-hmm. For me, so far it's been squatting. I'm sorry, not squatting, just powerlifting, strongman, 800 pounds on your back. Like, you need to be committed.
Yeah.
And I'd love for the audience to see, and maybe we can do this soon, is record some workouts and Really, but to really focus in on the mentality of a bodybuilder.
I mean, I could kind of put it in perspective for a lot of people. Back in 2008, 2009, 2010, I worked as an undergrad counselor at a university, and that was my bread and butter. That was my 9 to 5. You know, I counsel students, you know, get them into college and stuff like that. You know, financial aid, all that stuff. I did all that stuff, and you know, it was a good job. You know, I can't complain. It was a good job. You know, I had its perks and stuff like that, but it just wasn't something that I saw myself doing for the rest of my life, basically. So it wasn't something like a career stuff. And I've always, you know, trained and stuff like that. And one day, you know, just getting up and just deciding to just quit without a plan and focus on bodybuilding 100% kind of gives you a perspective on, you know, how dedicated you have to be to successful in this sport. Because I just upped and quit my job without any kind of backup plan or anything like that. And I just decided to focus 100% bodybuilding. And then fast forward to now, look at me, you know, being top 6 in the world, being top 10 in the world, you know, winning bodybuilding shows and, you know, being a sponsored athlete and doing this full time. You know, I could definitely say that I'm blessed, and I could definitely say that I put in the work to get to this point in my life.
I mean, that's fantastic. I think if more people experienced what we're talking about, you know, I think they'd be a lot happier.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, power to you. That takes some huge balls to be able to just say, you know what, I'm not going into work today. I'm done. I'm pursuing my dream. So congratulations on that. And look where, like you said, look where it's taking you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how long would you say it took from the day you quit to really being able to provide yourself as for yourself as a bodybuilder?
Probably about over a year, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look, a struggle for a year, but then it paid off.
Yeah. But for a year, I had to struggle. You know, I got a little BS contract, you know, and, you know, I had to cut back on a lot of things that, other than the so-called necessities that you need, you know, you have to cut back on it. But then you realize, like, some of the stuff that you think you need, you really don't need, you know, and sometimes you're making sacrifice, you know, in the end, it will pay off because you learn to live with what you have. And a lot of people always think that, oh, I need this or I need that. But in reality, there's a lot of stuff that you cling to that you really don't need. You know?
Yeah, I think if we were to all live a little less luxuriously, let's say, you know, especially the culture where we are here, you know.
I put it one thing into perspective. I've always lived my life by this concept.
Okay.
You know, everybody, you know, want to be successful. Everybody want to have money and, you know, the nice house, the nice cars and stuff like that. But when you die, does that any of those things matters?
Nope.
Exactly. You can't take any of those things with you. But what you can live behind is basically a memory, whether it's by, you know, motivating somebody to achieve something or making a little bit of a history where, you know, when you Google your name, you'll be like, hey, that's Akim Williams. You know, he won the Arnold Classic, or, you know, he was top 6 in Olympia, stuff like that. So I've always tried to live my life where I don't try to focus more so on the material stuff, but try to focus on the impact that I have left in the world.
That's fantastic.
Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That you couldn't have said it better. That makes absolutely perfect sense. You're right. I mean, look, I'm sure you would love to have a little bit of a nicer car one day and live in a nicer house or whatever it may be. And I'm the same. You know, I have a dream. I tell my girlfriend all the time, I want to go to one day I want to retire in Montana and live in the mountains and whatever, you know. I'm not a city guy. I know you grew up in one. I don't know how, if you walk down the street you don't bump into 100 people nowadays. But yeah, definitely. I you know, we all want that, but you're right. What do you leave behind?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How will people remember you?
Yes.
100%. Whether it's your accomplishments, but really I think it's things like this. You know, even if I don't see you again for 5 years, in 5 years, I'm like, yo, remember that podcast? That was great.
Yeah.
Remember that time we worked out and you killed me? It was fantastic.
Exactly.
And he was a great guy, whatever. Those are those little impacts that you have to make.
Yeah.
You know, but all I can't get out the back of my head is if you were what would you say for a university? You were a
undergrad counselor.
I'm just imagining like We're gonna get you a student loan. Did you ever show up in like a suit and tie, just super jacked all day long?
Well, towards the beginning, when I first started at university, I used to wear a suit and tie.
Wow.
But towards the end, and it really
was getting a little uncomfy.
Yeah, it didn't fit that well. Like my bosses at the time, they were really cool, so they understood what I did, and they didn't really care if I, as long as I had like some, dress pants on and
semi-professional.
Yeah, exactly. Or a nice button-up shirt or something like that. They didn't really care. I could walk around with some sneakers and stuff like that, so they didn't really care that much. So shout out to them for that. 'Cause
yeah,
a lot of bosses, they would not.
No,
so.
I'm lucky. I get to wear this polo and a pair of shorts every single day.
So.
I don't think I could wear dress pants every day. I'd probably go crazy. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, so I was comfortable, I was comfortable, and they didn't really care about me being in a suit and tie and all this other stuff, because I was like the big man, if anything happened or whatever the case may be, they have the big man on campus. So,
Akim. I mean, I hear you on that. I'm not as big as you, but I even hear like, Will, there's boxes.
Exactly.
Can you pick them up? I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. The refrigerator fell over. Okay.
Yeah. You tend to get those tasks that the average person at the job wouldn't do.
Yeah. Even though they maybe could, they probably could, they just won't do it. All right. So the last thing I have to ask is, you're in your later 30s. Mm-hmm. What's the end game? Have you thought about it? I mean, you still have I would say at least upwards of 10 years possibly of competing.
I wouldn't want to compete for that long.
So that's what I'm asking is when do you think your time, and do you, obviously of course the goal is to win Mr. Olympia or to be placed as high as possible.
Yeah.
But have you been thinking a little bit about the end game and what you might move into? Definitely,
man. I want to see myself doing this for another 4 or 5 years, competing for another 4 or 5 years. But my ultimate goal is my mom she lives in this island in the Caribbean called Grenada right now. And my end goal is to basically go back there and open up a small gym or open up a business and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We just talked about that, that video of you like picking up a barricade or whatever. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And is it, I'm guessing it's somewhere you were born there, correct?
Yeah.
And then how old were you when you came here?
I was a kid, young, like 3, 4, 5.
3, 5. Okay. So, but do you still remember the time there?
Not as much.
Not much?
Only when I go back on vacation and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's really cool. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah. You know what? I hope that I can go on vacation and come to the BK Beast Gym in Grenada.
Yeah.
10 years from now.
Of course, man. That's a plan. Hopefully I could achieve it. Put it out there in the universe, and hopefully I can make it happen.
Remember, we don't dream, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna make it happen.
That's why I say put it out in the universe and make it happen.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Akim, thank you so much for coming on today, even though it took us 6 months to get you on here, possibly a year. But no, I really do appreciate it. I think the people at home are going to enjoy everything and a little deep dive into the BK Beast, Akim Williams.
Of course, man. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
So once again, where they can see you at the Legends of Iron, correct?
Yeah, definitely check out the podcast called Legends of Iron, and we have some very, very interesting guests on that show, and you guys are going to love it.
And then your Instagram is the BK Beast, or?
Yeah, you could just type in BK Beast and you could find me on IG.
Awesome.
Or just type in IFBB Pro Akim Williams.
And check out this guy you watch, 2022 Olympia, because we know he's going to qualify.
Yeah.
That's happening.
That's a plan.
That's the plan.
And, definitely want to see myself in that top 5,
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll be celebrating afterwards, and I'll see you there.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one, brother.
Appreciate it.